Here we are, another Friday morning live, June 6th, 2024, 25. I'm lost in the past. 25. We are on the brinks of a world war, as been going on for the last several months, and let's pray that there is a peaceful outcome, because if world war breaks out, nobody will be safe on this planet. And so, what better state to be in than a fasting state, where we can go within, have a clear vision, raise our field strength, and send out plaf, plaf, plaf to all the people on the planet, especially the leaders who have these psychopathic ideas. Right? We want to bring peace to the world. War is obsolete. I don't think everybody's gotten that message yet. War is obsolete. War does not solve anything. We need the restoration of divine peace on the planet. Divine peace is all that we should be focusing on. Divine peace is peace, balance, correct conduct. These are the things that will restore mankind, humankind, right? But we are in the season change month, and focuses on the glorified dry fast, right? Master fast system, the dry fast. We mentally prepare ourselves for every season change as we are living and loving one of the MFS levels, level 2 minimum till 6. Some people are fine with eating 1 day a week. Some people need 8 days a week, right? So everybody's going to choose their level of obstructiveness that they want to live. The more we eat, the more condensed we are, the more pain we feel. The more we eat, the more condensed, the more pain. The more, because all physical foods, all matter state-based foods are obstructive, just at different levels. We'll look at the Master Fast System spiral, and you will see, how we mapped it out. So you have a basic idea. We don't have all the answers, but we have a basic idea of, as you move upwards to the more and more dense matter state-based foods, the more misery, pain, and suffering we will experience in this realm. As we move inwards, spiraling inwards, purging, as we're spiraling inwards, we're purging. That's how we spiral inwards, through a fasting state. We purge out all those obstructions. We purge out all those obstructions. Good morning, John. We purge out all those obstructions so the body can remember how to function again. The road to misery, pain, and suffering is obstructions on the physical, mental, emotional. As we obstruct our physicality, we're addicted to that. Eating, we're addicted, and we keep doing it over and over and over. And we obstruct ourselves to the point where, organs, glands, digestive tract, brain, eyes, ears, nose, senses, all the senses, right? Skin, everything starts having challenges to operate as it was intended to design by its design, by divine design, because there's obstructions in the way. The obstructions don't allow the fields to flow. When you have the fields flowing smoothly and beautifully, interacting with everything around us, obstruction free, everything works perfectly as it should be, as by our design. When there's obstructions in the way, the fields have to interact with those obstructions, and it obstructs flow and obstructs the beautiful, pain-free, joyful, happy life. Simple. It's so simple, but we are so addicted to food. We are so addicted to food. It's just, I was talking, Wednesday about, look at how much energy goes into the food industry. Look how much energy. It's astronomical. It's probably the biggest industry on the planet, the food industry, to feed people. And a major percentage of what is being sold as food is not even food. Things all grown in monocropping and all this stuff. This stuff ain't food. Corporate prepared stuff. Synthesized whatever. These things may resemble, and people believe they're food because the marketing and packaging, it's all about marketing and packaging. They know how to draw in people. They know how to sell people. People need to be sold to, right? People want to be sold to. The truth is not attractive. People want to be marketed lies so they can spend their hard-earned money to be in pain, misery, and suffering. It's that simple. And how do we know that? Well, we've all been through this, and I've been on this path for 3.5 decades, and that's all I've encountered is we as mankind, humanity, cannot let go of our addictions. We want to actually be in pain, misery, and suffering subconsciously. We can't let that go. We don't know anything else. We socialize with that. We interact with that everywhere we go. It's all around us. Everywhere we go. We walk out, we go into stores, we go into any public places. It's all around us. Those fields we're being interacted with those pain, misery, and suffering fields all the time. What's the second most biggest industry? Well, it might be the actual biggest is the medical system, because of what we do with the foods we eat. Everything is intertwined. Everything is basic common sense. We just need to go inwards, We are in our season change. Season change. It's our dry time. You know, we're doing our cycles on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And on the season change, we want to expand a little more. You know, being in the fasting state, everything moves beautifully. There's no obstructions. The pain melts away. Start putting food in our mouths, and we start getting all these pains. Like everybody's Ilana, good morning. Everybody will experience things differently because we all have different ancestral lineages and gene makeup and emotions. So everybody's going to experience things differently. John just got to the gym, sauna time. Bakersfield, California. Awesome. Great to sweat. So we all are going to experience things differently. You know, 10 people can eat the same thing and everybody's going to experience differently. Eat the exact same meal. So there's a lot more than just the physicality involved. As we be continuing to say, you know, volition and emotion is seed of all. I'm a Native American Indian from frozen North Dakota. Wow. Frozen North Dakota. Well, we're in the greater TO area, and yeah, it's freezing up here in the winter. So Native Americans, they've been put through hell. You know, your ancestors have been put through hell, and it's sad that this is in our history, but it is. And there's same stuff going on right now. So we want to stay focused on purging, so we can snap out of the deep sleep that we've been put into. We're all in this deep sleep. Deep sleep. It's all done through the marketing, the news media, the schooling system, education system, and many other avenues. But you know, when we're fasting, the more we fast, the more we live the fasting lifestyle, the clearer our vision becomes, and the more we can see through all the caca. Caca's all around us. But, you know, we need to be able to decipher. You know, we can look outside and see all the caca, or we can look outside and see all the beauty. So we must focus on the beauty that's all around us. No matter what state anybody is in, everything could be brought back to balance. No matter how much pain, misery, and suffering anybody is in, everything can be brought back to divine peace, balance, correct conduct. Right? We just have to make a choice and go through the motions and, you know, go through the healing reactions and continue on the path. And when we choose to eat, we got to be careful. We got to be careful, because eating is overrated. As you're constricting. It's very constricting as we obstruct. It's constricting. As we purge, it's expanding. That's why we've had, master fasters grow, 2 inches, over 2 inches, some people. How does that happen? Well, you got 33 segments in your spine. If everything's compressed, right? You just open each one 1/16 of an inch, and how much is that? Do your math. There's 2 inches, over 2 inches there, right? It's simple. It just open up and let things flow as they were meant to, as they were designed to operate. We let things flow. My experience that my first long MFS from my old yoga teacher. He came by and visit one day. I haven't seen him in maybe a couple of years or so. And he goes, "You grew." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You're taller." I go, "Really?" So I measured myself, and lo and behold, I was 3/4 inch taller. But, we've had more than a couple of people grow 2 inches. Just think about how much compression, how much obstructions. It's just fascinating to see what the body's capable of. Oh, it's a gravity that's pushing us down. It's a bunch of nonsense. How does the sap flow up the tree? How these massive trees, how does the water flow out of the ground in the mountains, in the highest mountains? How does it happen? How does it elevate with the so-called gravity? This is where we don't have full understanding. It's all about the fields and interactions and how things move. How does a fish swim upstream? In the rapids. The mystery continues as we pretend to solve how things function in nature. We pretend because we really don't know. We can mimic some things and so on and so forth, but do we really know? I say that we believe we know. There's so much stuff. If we just allow the body to function as its intended design, we see miracles over and over and over again. Miracles. And can we explain it all? Before, what do we need to explain it? It happens. It works. The fasting state is the state we want to be in regularly as a lifestyle. We do not want to fall in that 7-day a week or 8-day a week for some of eating, right? 2, 3 meals, 4 meals a day, heavy, dense. Oh yeah. There's bodybuilders eating, 6 meals a day. Yeah, they're big and strong, and then you see how many have dropped dead. The body can only handle so much. The sheer volition and emotion can overcome a lot. And that's how people are able to eat these high obstructive diets and achieve, all these massive strengths and so on and so forth. It's through the volition and emotion. It has nothing to do with the physicality. Even though they're stuffing their faces, but it's the volition and emotion is so strong, that field strength, they've raised it so high that it overcomes the material state. So, where does strength come from? It comes from the volition and emotion, number one. Number two, it comes from the physical activity to build the muscles. And the third is, the food. The nourishment is way above anything else, which is the nourishment is the volition and emotion. That's the nourishment. The food, the physical food, the matter, heavy, dense food, that we can all minimize. Most of us are going to continue eating, and that's okay. But after all the experiences I've gone through myself, I honestly believe that food is not, material-based food is not a necessity for the Homo sapien. Believe it or not. We all can choose what to believe, but we can't just stop eating. We would be overwhelmed by our obstructions. And hence, here to the rescue comes the master fast system. Very well structured, so the body's able to purge, at its highest levels, safely. The ones who have the biggest challenges are the ones who've been really butchered up, by the system. Those are the ones that have to be very careful. When we're loaded up with synthetics, we're chemicals and so on from the environments and foods and other things, we have to be careful. But the body will purge all that stuff out. It's just, fasting state is the only state that I've seen. We can't add more things to purge us. We use, in a fasting state, we use the herb kingdom to help the emotion, mental, and physical body to keep energetic pathways opened up. That they give us the information, the body takes that information from the herb kingdom and uses that information to do its work. The body is the only thing that does the work. Through soul from source. It's the only thing that does the work, is the body. Everything else is just information that the body will use or not use. In the case of when we eat, the body, what does it do with some of that information? It plugs up the physicality. And then if the physical is plugged up, The mental and emotion gets plugged up because the information is corrupt. The information is corrupt. That's why we say over and over, fruit, when we're choosing to eat, fruit is the least obstructive. By far, fruit is the least obstructive. Way, way less than the vegetable kingdom. Way less. The herb kingdom, wild herbs. What are we doing with them? We're using their information. Tinctures, we're using their information. Teas, we're using their information. In master fasting, we're not consuming the herbs themselves. We're using the information of the herbs only. If you want to eat some wild herbs, yeah, you can do that when you're in an eating state. But you'll notice if you try and you ever go out in the wild and pick all wild herbs and make yourself a wild salad, and let me know how much of it you can eat. You won't be able to eat a lot of it. Your body's going to give you very strong signals that that's enough. Whereas you can go buy all this greens from a store, right? Make yourself a big salad, and you'll be able to finish that whole thing. Make a big bowl. Make a big bowl of wild. Make a big bowl of store-bought greens. It's night and day difference, right? Amount of food that you can eat that has corrupted information, I guess we can use the word term. Cultivated stuff. If you grow your own food, it's going to be a lot better. Or if you go to a farmer that that's growing food properly. But yeah, there's so much. Fruit trees, just think how big they are and how far down the root system goes. They have, even though they've been hybridized and so on and so forth, they're much easier for our body to process fruit. Much, much, much easier. Sugars, the fiber, and the infinite other things that are contained within the life of the fruit. Infinite, because we can never know unless we become, the fruit to access the knowledge. Fasting, herbs, and fruit. You want to have salads, yeah, that's fine. We like to do for the most part, it's fruit-based salads, not green-based salad. So we use fruit as a base of our salad. We add some greens, we'll do some sunflower sprouts here and there, and some stuff from the garden, some wild, dandelion and plantain or whatever. We have some wonderful lemon balm growing. Lemon balm is really nice. Oregano and all the other wonderful, basil. But you don't need much of that for the flavors, just a little bit of that stuff. And you get the beautiful aromas and the pleasure of eating and experiencing that. I love the experience of, just socializing and eating with people. It's just a wonderful experience, and most people love that. That's why, you have so many restaurants. thousands and thousands and thousands of restaurants in every city. Millions around the world. Restaurants. The industries, the biggest industries. Food and medical. Can't have one without the other. Anyway, if anybody's got any last questions, we'll call it a close. Too much blabbing over here. Master fasting is a simple life. There's the few of the few who will actually live it and love it as a lifestyle. We'll have most people just come through the door as a one-time experience, and hopefully they take away a lot of points that they live with. But you know, the attention span on people today is so low. 30 seconds, a minute, if that. You start talking to people and they're off into something else, and so on and so forth, and you can't have any real discussions with anybody anymore. It seems very few people I can do that. So with that said, we'll send Plaf out to all those in dire needs. Let's pray for peace. Let's continue sending plasma love always flowing to all the leaders of the world and those in dire needs. And we pray and we envision peace, divine peace, balance, correct conduct on the planet. That's all we have to do, is just continuously envision peace, balance, correct conduct. It's getting more and more challenging, but we need to continue. We can't just pretend nothing's happening around the world, because it's right in our back door. Ciao for now. See you back on the page. See you back on next call, Wednesday, Facebook Live. Ciao for now.